Hello, and thank you for listening to this week's episode of Secure Insights with NDK Cyber. Now, NDK Cyber, as many of you may know, is first and foremost a cybersecurity recruitment company. We recruit cyber talent globally, niche skill sets, tricky locations, companies that are scaling rapidly, sales to technical roles, and everything in between. Now, we started the Secure Insights series really as a way to shine lights on important areas, to tackle hot subjects, to really give people a platform to tell some pretty cool stories. Now, this week, my co-host Rosie is joined by the co-founding team over at Cyvore. Cyvore zero in on the world of workspace security. So if you saw our socials earlier on this week, you know what that means. That means deepfakes, and deepfakes with relatively little effort as well. So in this episode, we cover all the risks in modern collaboration technology, how identity attacks are on the rise, just how easy it is to use AI with deepfake technology, and a little more around Cyvore's mission. And we're talking around a 40 billion market by 2023. So not small numbers, definitely an area to look at. Hope you enjoy.
Perfect. So we are live. So like I said, I would have just kind of run through a little bit of an intro about all you guys, where you've come from, but definitely wouldn't have done it justice. So if you don't mind, just each of you kind of running through a little bit about your background, kind of what got you to where you are today, and of course, Cyvore.
Great. So thank you so much. My name is Ori Segal. I'm one of the co-founder of Cyvore and the CEO of the company. I started my career in the Israeli security section for 7 years in the Shabak. After that, I served as the business development manager and the manager of the entrepreneur program of Ernst& Young Israel. 2016, I opened a startup by the name Mugo. 2020, I sold it to Deezer, the French streaming company. And in the past 3 years, we have been working very quietly about what we are going to speak right now. I have 25 years experience in the Israeli startup and high-tech ecosystems.
Mhm. Fantastic. Thank you for that. Yoav?
So I'm Yoav. I'm the youngest in the group. I'm also Iftach brothers. I started my way in high school actually in an Israeli
Wow.
program that called Magshimim, which is like cyber for youth. And then I did a year of service, which is a year of volunteering before the mandatory army service. So I volunteer in the north of Israel, also educating pupils and in the Magshimim program that I went through. Then I joined the army
Wow.
as cyber in the cyber division. Let's say enough. I worked in Aqua Security for 3.5 years as an open source
Wow.
developer. I moved to Cybellum as a car vulnerability researcher. And then my last job before Cyvore was JFrog, where I helped create the new product, which is runtime security. It detects when vulnerability is loaded into kernel in Kubernetes and cloud environments.
Fantastic. And then, of course, last but no means no least, Yiftach, would you mind just running through a little bit about your background as well?
Course. So I'm Iftach. I'm one of the co-founders and I'm the CPO in the company. I started my way in the army. I finished my service as a team leader of a cybersecurity team. Then I joined a company called Septir. I worked over there for 3 years in a relocation job to East Africa. I was the sole representative of the company in the continent, done everything over there from laying cables to training, support, and integration, and whatever was needed. Then I came back to Israel. I learned some offensive cybersecurity, and I joined a company called Cyvore. Over there, I started as a SOC analyst and finished as a threat hunter, and that's where I started the whole research that stands behind what we are doing today.
Fantastic. Love it. Super kind of diverse backgrounds, which probably brings you all together and makes you kind of such a strong, I guess, founding team. So really excited to kind of get stuck into this one, learn obviously a lot more about kind of Cyvore, the mission, and obviously this space as well. I think really to kind of kick off this conversation, we need to be thinking, I guess, about kind of, I guess, the modern workforce, collaboration platforms. And I think it's become such like a, I guess, a heartbeat of how teams are communicating. but as much as they have kind of become so essential, they've obviously opened a whole new kind of set of risks that maybe previously haven't really been thought about. So I guess talking about kind of Slack, Teams, Zoom, even WhatsApp, which is obviously so relevant at the moment, how are they becoming kind of a new attack surface?
So actually, this is a new field in cybersecurity called workspace security.
Mm-hmm.
In the past 2 years, especially because of hybrid work and the rise of LLMs, we see amazing number in the cybersecurity industry. We have more than 1,300% increase in phishing messages.
Wow.
34 billion attacks happen every day, daily worldwide. More than 1,000% increase in credential phishing, and 77% of the CISOs complaining that they're getting attacked but by those attackers, and most of them are going through all their system. And why they're going through all this system? Because 55% of business remote communication happened those days outside of email. So we all know the solution from email security till now, or till a few years ago, all the communication goes through emails. But in the past last year, we can see, especially in the organization, everybody speaking through Zoom, Teams, Google Meet, Slack, WhatsApp Business, through the CRM system, like we are doing right now. So in that specific call that we are doing right now, if something fishy is going over there, there is no solution out there. So we can do whatever we want in that Zoom call that we are holding with you right now.
Yeah, that's insane. And so, like I said, relevant as well, because I even know in our company, we rely heavily on like WhatsApp, for example, to be able to talk obviously internally, but to clients and candidates as well. And it's something that I guess you don't really think about because it becomes such sort of, I guess, the everyday kind of norm. And again, with Slack and Teams and everything like that. You mentioned there kind of about, I guess, email security. It's had a load of investment, and obviously the security and threat landscape is kind of constantly changing. Why hasn't, I guess, the security investment been as big for these kind of platforms as it has for email security?
So email security is a very old fashion of technology.
Mhm.
It's been there out there maybe for 30 years, and there is a lot of solution out there for many companies. But as we mentioned, in the past 2 years, people start to speak with other different remote communication channels, and nobody pay attention into that. When you mentioned WhatsApp, so if I will send you some links or file through WhatsApp, you think it's everything is fine, so you will open them, and then you will start to get the problem. So
Mhm.
we're starting to see those days a lot of investment in our field. Luckily, we are pioneers in that field because we started 3 years ago very quietly. We
Yeah.
opened the company a year ago and raised the first round from various VCs in the States. I guess in the upcoming year, we will see a lot of investment in that area because the CISOs put a lot of money in order to secure the company through the cloud and through the firewalls and all the other stuff. But today it's like a red carpet. The attacker can go in the front door in the company and he didn't even has to knock. He just open the door and go immediately through all those channels. And we see every day tons of attack
Mhm.
that going through those channels, and the companies and the CISOs suffering every day, stealing a lot of money from those companies, stealing credentials from the employees. It's a big mess. I can say that today you cannot trust anyone anymore. You get in an email, you don't know who sent you that email.
Yeah.
You're speaking with me, you don't know if this is me on the other side. I'm calling you, maybe I'm doing some phishing through the phone call. I send you some text through WhatsApp. You don't know if this is me or not. So we're in a critical situation that you cannot trust anyone anymore.
Yeah, it feels like they're kind of shifting away from just being more like technical, like exploits to kind of more like trust and I guess kind of relationship almost threats. I guess kind of thinking about like blind spots specifically, though, it feels like companies are maybe becoming kind of more increasingly aware that this is a risk. What are the blind spots specifically? Is it kind of, I guess, human nature just to click on a link as you get it through?
I think it's more about psychological manipulation.
Hmm.
A lot of attacks that we're seeing those days are not the regular attack that we used to see in the past. Like you get an email with a link or a file, or somebody send you something from Africa that is in trouble and you need to pass some money and all
Yeah.
that. Most of the attacks those days starting, or the attackers try to get some trust from the other side from many, many months before even they doing this attack. And this is the blind spot. A lot of things that going through manipulation, through wording, through talk, through call, gaining trust from the other side. And the worst is to impersonating to a senior executive. It will be very, very easy for us to do a deepfake call with you right now, and you think that this is really me. I will
Yeah.
speak. It's look like me. Maybe you know me from the past, especially if this is the first time we're speaking. So you don't know if the people on the other side are really
Hmm.
those ones. So this is the blind spot, and it's really easy to fall into that because the human being is the weakest part of the chain. So I can protect my company in great technology, but by the end of the day, when I'm speaking with somebody, either through email, through WhatsApp, through Zoom, through all the other channel, you're speaking with a human being. And when you
Hmm.
speak with a human being and you know how to do that, I can manipulate you very, very easily.
Yeah, because as long as I guess that security stack could be perfect, but at the end of the day, if it's down to something, I guess, like human error, or you still want to trust, obviously, humans, you've got, I guess, that kind of going for us. But if that's now becoming kind of an attack, like vector, like you said, kind of deep fakes and everything, you start to question kind of what can you really trust. I think is even relevant in the case of not just kind of like threats, but like deep fakes. There's constantly what like celebrities being deepfake in like the media. There's high kind of ranking officials being deepfaked. So then it kind of starts making you question, like you said here, even on a Zoom call, am I actually speaking to the team over at Cyvore, or is this all kind of fake?
I can give you an
Yeah, it's really
example. It
relevant.
happened a lot of in Israel in the past months. Attackers impersonating to senior executive, not only celebrities. So let's take one example from Asaf Rapoport from Wiz. So his employees say that they got a phone call from him with his voice, and
Wow.
he's trying to tell them to do that and that and that, and
Mhm.
they stop it because one girl over there say his voice was a little bit different, and then Asaf say when I'm on stage I'm a little bit excited, so my voice is changing, and the
Mhm.
attacker took the voice from one of his lecture, but day to day his voice is a little bit different, and this is how they stop the attack. It's happened to the defense minister of Italy a few months ago, that they were impersonating to his voice, telling to some very interesting companies in Italy from the fashion industry. They called him from his voice, say that there were some journalists kidnapped in the Middle East and everything is quiet and they need money to release them. And people pay the money. So it's really easy to do that. So it's not only celebrities, it's people that you trust,
Yeah.
people that you want to hear what they have to say, and this is very, very easy to do that.
Yeah, and it's insane. I feel like you can't really now have any conversation about, I guess, security without kind of considering anything to do with AI as well. And it just feels like this is all kind of happening so quickly, and these attacks are really, I guess, evolving, especially what you just said there. It's kind of these high-ranking officials that obviously you're trusting, you're kind of buying into, and they're being like you said, they're completely impersonated. How can these, I guess, security solutions really like stay ahead of this if it's constantly I guess, evolving and getting better is quite scary.
Yes, it's like a race between the mouse and the cat. So whatever deepfake will be there out there every day, it's getting improvement.
Mhm.
So and this is part of what we are doing because we are looking on deepfake in all other way because none of Zoom call like we're doing right now start from a Zoom call. It starts from us getting a conversation before that. Then we put it in the calendar. Then we are holding a Zoom call. So part of the magic of what we are doing is the chain of event, the ability to track everything that start before the attack happen itself. I think Yoav can give you some brief about that endpoint and what exactly is the technology out there that we can see those days.
Yeah, thank you, Ori. So, as Ori mentioned, really, what we decided to do is to put ourselves outside of this race because it will be a never-ending race. You can already see it that I know an Israeli company that what they're doing, they are detecting human pulse by color discoloration, face discoloration between frames in order to understand if this image, video is a real person or a AI created person. So once they publish their article about it, the next month the attacker adjusts, and now they're creating like human pulse between frames in order to be undetected by the system. So, like Ori said, what we decided to do is we decided to look at the entire picture, the entire chain of events, and understand everything. So, from your first message to someone in the organization that we are monitoring, you're starting to be indexed. The system will start to create you an identity. And then we're doing a lot of OSINT, open source intelligence. And through this OSINT and through other threat intelligence methodologies that we are doing, it start to create candidates for your identity. To just look over your LinkedIn, your X, like Twitter. Will understand if you talked with someone else in the organization, and then it will index your behavior, the way you speak, the way you look, and everything.
Wow.
But everything is also being done with saving your privacy. So, for example, when we have a Zoom call, we have a bot that join the call. The bot listens to the call, it watches the call, and it's understanding the call. And it's also understanding the entire situation with understanding of what happens before. So currently, we know to detect some deepfake methodologies. But we are saying, let's say 2 years from now, 5 years from now, the deepfake will be perfect. No machine could detect it because it will be the same as reality. So in this case, we will still detect it because somebody will try to drive you into doing some actions. He will try to manipulate you, and up until now, we were talking about marketing, and now we are talking about bank accounts and stuff like this that are drift from your regular behavior. So we are looking at this entire picture in order to understand it, and this way we don't care about new methodologies. Like we are going to detect deepfake and all of the stuff as long as we can. But we are saying it will come to a point of time that we can't.
So it sounds like you guys are kind of looking more, I guess, psychologically as well, rather than going that deep fake kind of looks a little bit off, they're kind of shifting a little bit strange. You're looking at kind of like tonality and like you said, kind of what's been posted on like LinkedIn, on Twitter or X or everything like that. Like you said, the kind of the wider picture. It sounds like you guys might be the first to be kind of looking at this.
We
One
are
of
the
the first.
first looking at it in this context.
Yes.
Because there's some tools that are doing threat intelligence and they do it amazing. And there are tools that are doing deepfake and they do it okay. And there are other tools that are doing web crawling and stuff like this. But nobody looks at the entire picture the way that we do. This is our magic sauce, this complete understanding and this full image. Many times when we talk to people over the last 3 years, they're looking at us and saying like, wow, why are you doing, but you're going to do this and that and that and this, and you're scaling all over around. And what are you going to do with all of this information? How are you going to look at it? And I was like, this all information, it's an information that one person is supposed to consume. I am one person, I have my phone. So I get message over WhatsApp, I get phone calls. When I have a meeting with someone, I could search him. So if I, as the one human, going to process all of this information, why shouldn't my security system as well? Why shouldn't it be blind to it? So I told them, we don't do a lot of stuff and scaling around. We're doing one human perspective point.
I think one of the problems we've seen those days is exactly with the email aspect. That the email looking at everything like 0 and 1, very narrow vision into that. And with the technology out there right now, especially with the LLMs and the AI, we starting to see a lot of mail takeover that was very difficult to do in the past. And right now it's very easy to do. And all the security system out there missing that because they give it a score. Is this good or not? But the attackers are very, very smart. So they going through the way that everything will be under the radar. But when you calibrate all of them together, suddenly you see the real threats.
That's fantastic. It's for someone that's kind of not in obviously the technical side of this kind of space, it comes across it's really eye-opening and kind of somewhat, like I said earlier, a bit scary, but understanding there's companies like yourselves and I guess others out there, and there will be, I'm sure, over the next kind of year to 5 years, being able to kind of give that full insight, especially kind of what you said, Yoav, about in 5 years, these deep fakes will probably be so amazing that you won't be able to detect it kind of just by the naked eye. Yeah, it's fantastic. Thank you for, I guess, kind of running through all of that. I guess we've spoken a bit about kind of the technical side. I guess, wanted to talk about almost like the business risk within companies. What's at stake for companies when attackers are kind of, I guess, exploiting these like Team, Zoom, WhatsApp, anything like that? Do you have any, I guess, examples?
Yes, we can divide it to two. The reason to do this attack can be either stealing money or stealing credential. Both of them are very, very dangerous. Let's talk about a real case that happened actually from a company from England and a company from Hong Kong that know each other many, many years, holding Zoom call almost every week from the financial departments, talking about how much money one company should transfer to another. So in that case, they know each other for many years. They know the person. They saw them in the past, sometimes through Zoom, sometimes even personally. And in that particular Zoom call, the attackers stole $25.6 million.
Oh my gosh.
Now, the attackers spent something like $1 million into that. Today, it will cost around $200,000. And in the upcoming future, and I'm talking about months, not years, it will cost almost nothing. What happened in that specific Zoom call, that all the guys from the Hong Kong side was totally deep fake. Now, imagine that you know me many years and you speak with me and you think that this is actually me. From the London side, the only poor guy that was real were the junior in the financial department that asking from his CFO through the Zoom call the clearance to transfer $25.6 million. So in one Zoom call, the company lost that kind of amount because of deepfake, because of manipulation, because of trust. And the weird thing is, imagine that you're calling your boss that you know and asking for permission to transfer money, and he say, "Of course, Rosie, do that," and you think that this is actually him. Now that happened something like a year ago, but in the past 3 months in Israel, it's happened a lot. And this is only in Israel. So we can imagine what happened
Yeah.
worldwide, stealing money through that kind of channels.
And I guess kind of like we said earlier, I think companies probably assume that their, I guess, more traditional kind of security stacks would cut or would pick up on something like that. And I guess until something like this actually happens, it's then realizing you don't have that kind of coverage there, because you do need kind of new and evolving technology, and it's evolving with the attacks as well, I guess.
Yes, and it's especially concerning a company that dealing with a lot of money. So it can be banking, it can be financial, it could be insurance, even VCs. Let's say you have a VC, and I said hearing that from VCs that they afraid to transfer the money to the company that's going to invest in, because
Gosh.
if somebody will do, let's say there is a VC right now want to invest in us $10 million. So they need to transfer the fund. So if an attacker look at that and doing mail takeover, and then they will ask to me to send them my bank account, and I will do that, they will think it's come from me, but it's the attacker. And the moment that happen, you will never find the money. It will go lost, somewhere out
Mm.
there. So you can see a lot of company going now to do what they did in the past. Try to call you. Is this really you? Tell me your bank account, only the number, and let's do another phone call. Give me your credential, and then let's do through Zoom, please, or through WhatsApp, send me another information. So you spend so much time in order to transfer money from one side to another. And I heard about another situation that happened with a company that did a very nice exit, and they need to
Mhm.
transfer the money to their investors. So one investor, they need to transfer $1 million into that. He sent them his bank account, and that was an attacker waiting 1 year after he did a mail takeover from that specific investor. And the moment they ask for the bank account, because they need to transfer money to many investors,
Mhm.
so they lost $1 million. And so they lost much more than that. $1 million the attacker stole, $1 million they have to transfer to the investor, and
Gosh.
another a lot of money to investigate what just happened.
Mhm.
So it's happened a lot, but nobody will speak about it. We
Mhm.
can see it, but nobody speak about it because you're ashamed.
I was
Imagine.
going to say why is it because of that kind of then admitting almost like what's happened publicly?
Exactly. I think
Yeah.
Iftach can give you some brief about the threat intelligence and what we're exactly doing, how to
Hmm.
to see everything. So Iftach, maybe you can say something about
Yes.
our Tayo engine and the special way that we are looking on stuff.
So I will start by talking a little bit about the traditional email gateways and the endpoint tools, because this is the world that we had until today. And those tools were built for a world where threats looked like suspicious links, malware
Hmm.
attachments, or known bad domains. But today's the attackers aren't just sending viruses, they're manipulating people. So social engineering and AI deepfakes don't always come with a malicious file or link. It could be a voice on a Zoom call that sounds exactly like your CEO, or even a WhatsApp message, like we said, with the right context at the right time. And those things aren't triggering any signature-based detection because nothing looks technically malicious.
Yeah.
That's why Cyvore was built to analyze the context of the communication, the language, the psychology, and even the behavioral patterns that traditional security tools completely miss. And our engine knows how to do it both inside the company and outside the company. We have one leg inside and one leg outside. We have our system that does the threat intelligence both in the classical way and both in a proactive way. And that's our main difference, because we are not only observing the chatter in the darknet or forums, we are actually observing the attacker's infrastructure. And that's how we can catch stuff before they even happen. When the attacker is just building his next attack, we can already detect it.
I
Um,
guess it's having that holistic view as well. Like you said there, kind of internally, but also externally as well.
Yeah, I can give you the simple example. I
Mhm.
guess you get a lot of SMS that you know that this is a phishing SMS. So, for example, in Israel, we get let's say you order something from AliExpress,
Mhm.
immediately you will get a phishing into your SMS system from the Israeli Post saying you need to pay 9 shekels in order to get this package or whatever. So
Mhm.
you know it's a scam. When we put it into Cyvore engine, we gain exactly to the database of the attackers. And it's like we are the attackers themselves looking on his eyes. So we saw that the same attacker send the same phishing attack to the Greece post office and to the Dubai post office. But we
Wow.
saw him building right now an attack to one of the major bank in Germany. So if that kind of bank was our client, even before this attack happened, we can tell him, look, you are going to be attacked. We call it 0 day. So when you gain into the database of an attacker, it's like you're getting into their mind, into their eyes. You see how they think, how they build, who they're going to attack, what of credential they got till now. And we have something like over 300 million hot credentials we
Wow.
grab from those attackers that are hot right now with the real password and username of people that can get through your personal email or social network, not only into your workspace environment. And this is really frightening.
And I guess it means you can keep up with, but I guess stay ahead of the attackers as well, as if you kind of are able to, like you said there, kind of get into the head and get into the mindset of kind of what is going on now, like, and what's super relevant in the attacks.
Iftach look very innocent, but Iftach can be very intelligent and expert attacker. So yeah, part of what we're doing is to behave like the attacker, start to think like them. And one of our advisory board in the company is a very well-known psychologist. Is called Dr. Dan Ariely, Professor Dan Ariely. This is exactly what we're doing with him together. Try to think psychologically what will be the next step, what will be the next attack that nobody thinking about that going to do. So we're trying to be a little bit out in the future over there.
Yeah, kind of thinking, I guess, a bit more out of the box, instead of kind of, I guess, chasing what the attackers are doing, you're becoming the attacker. Yeah, it's really interesting. Is that, do you think, I guess, kind of one of the reasons that thinking about, I guess, Cyvore as like a company and achieving your kind of pre-seed backing, I think it was 3 million, wasn't it? Is that, do you think, kind of one of the reasons that the investors are really backing you because you're kind of doing something different?
When we start 2.5 years ago, nobody actually understand what we're talking about. So it was
Really?
a meeting with investors, and they took it always to the email aspect. But there is a lot of email solution out there, and we say we are not doing email, we are doing the full
Yeah.
spec. And then, sometime the market or something that happened in the real future help you. So those attacks start 2 years ago, and nobody had any solution. And the moment we had something that we actually can install, can prove, to show, all the investor woke up, especially in the United States, and it was very easy for us to do the first round. Usually when you're doing pre-seed, you raise a couple of hundred of thousand. In that case, we raised those $3 million. It took us a month because when you speak with an investor and he himself getting those attacked, suddenly it's come reality. And not only for business. We were speaking what of the investor and say, hey, my father just got this attack in his personal Amazon website, and this and that and that and that. And right now we are just started our next round to go very aggressively into the US market. So we see every meeting we are doing, they tell you about it, and they embarrassed, but they tell you about it. A month ago, they stole that kind of money from us. A week ago, they impersonated to a senior executive. So 3 years ago, nobody understand what we're doing. Those days, I think everybody understand what we are doing, even the simple people out there that getting those attacked personally.
And I guess kind of like you said earlier, it's because kind of remote and hybrid working has kind of really taken, I guess, a rise, especially since COVID. I know in the UK it has, and definitely kind of, I guess, in the US as well. And I guess thinking about maybe the bigger picture stuff, are you, I guess, kind of worried about more attack surfaces becoming more kind of prevalent because of that?
Yesterday, there was a situation that people start to getting packages, like they order from AliExpress, but they didn't do that. But when you get a package, you say, hey, maybe I got a package from somebody else and that and
Yeah.
that. So, okay, it's a nice present. And on the package was a QR code. So people scan it. The moment they scan it, the attack began. So you see a lot of weird and new attacks. And really, the minds, it's like mission impossible. Every day you see something else. Those attackers are not like a child sitting in one of those countries trying to manipulate you. It's well founded organization that has a lot of money in order to do that. It's like a full business that divided only to do that, to steal money and credential. And you see crazy stuff out there.
Yeah, I've never heard of that, but I guess you're right. Like even thinking if I receive like an Amazon delivery at home, that's not for me. The first thing I would do is, yeah, if there's a QR code, you just scan it and you wouldn't even think. Or even like around the office, we have even like physical posters like on the wall with QR codes, and immediately you just go and scan it because it's kind of, you
We
think it's
just,
safe. You don't even think
we
about the
just
risk.
We just came back from the States, and when we went into one of the parking over there in San Francisco, the way to pay for the parking was a sign on the wall with the QR. You scan it, you go to the website, and you pay. That was real. But in Israel, it wasn't real. People went
Gosh.
into a driving spot, scanned the QR, paying money, and that totally free parking. You don't need to pay anything.
Hmm.
So they stole money through that asset. And you just mentioned Amazon. A few weeks ago, there was the Amazon week. 1.5 million people in the States fall into that. They got email from Amazon that offered them to do like to pay right now from Amazon Prime half a price or something like that. People press that, put them credit card, everything, and it was a full scam inside the Amazon week. One of the father of our investor fall into that. They stole a lot of money from him.
Because you would as well. I think if you think you're getting something out of it, like, I don't know, like a free trial, half price, you almost immediately just put all your details in because you think at the end, kind of, you're the winner, but actually you haven't even thought about kind of the risk. It's making me really think about everything I'm doing now, just on my side. And I'm not even like a company owner, but yeah, God, it's really eye-opening. I mean, I guess it's really hard to kind of put a number to, but thinking about kind of the next 5 years, I know we've already kind of spoken about how these attacks are just going to get kind of more clever and I guess harder, but I'm sure kind of the technology kind of will keep up. What do you think kind of the next 5 years will look like?
I will take this question. I think that the next 5 years will be unpredictable. We can all the stuff that we see now, 1 year ago, because of the rise of the LLMs and AI everywhere, we thought that things that will be in 5 years from now, a year ago, are already here. So I think that from now we're going to see some amazing stuff, especially on the attacker side, because many times the attackers are moving faster than the defenders. You can fight it. This is the way of thing because you have to defend against 1 million stuff, and the attacker need to find only one path. And I think that we will see a lot of differences in the deepfake and the AI. There will have to be a way to protect your identity, because even those days, if we'll take some images online that are not copyright, we can just create an image from it and create a video from it, and it's legal. You can do anything about it because we can use it. It's non-copyright image. And I know that there are already countries that are trying to regulate that every image from person from this country is being protected by the laws of the country. But without any global initiation that's working together, we'll see many more attacks and no way to defend in a legal way from it. Because,
Uh,
so yeah.
No, I was going to say, I guess as well, how we all kind of live online as well. Like you just post kind of everything. So think about my face. My face is probably everywhere because you've got like LinkedIn, so you've got the business accounts, you've got kind of our website, even like personal social media. It's not really like thinking about like Facebook, it's not really kind of like locked up. So the face is everywhere. So it's so easy to get kind of pictures of myself, and I'm sure, I promise you it is me today on this call, but it could it would be
It's not only
easy.
your face. This is the magic here.
Yeah.
Face and your voice.
Hmm.
Uh,
And
we
my
have
mannerisms as well, because there's
we
probably
have a
videos I use my
situation.
hands a lot.
We have a situation here in Israel with the banking industry that you can do a lot of action through your voice.
Mhm.
And then somebody release a tool that can grab part of your voice, and he published that in 1 minute he could manipulate the bank system. He was impersonating to somebody else's voice and start giving orders to somebody else's bank account. So it's image, it's face, it's behavior, and not only that, it's also the way you are typing your wording. So if I will track you for a month, I can know everything about you. So it's not only because it can be really you, but when I will speak with you, say, but I know Rose, this is not her by how she speak. But no, I can learn all your habits, and then I can do a great impersonation. And I think, Iftach, can you elaborate a little bit about the future, about threat intelligence, what you think will be there?
So now currently, it's just starting to under the whole field of threat intelligence just starting to understand the importance of identity and behavioral actions and uh, patterns, and that's where now stuff are starting to get there. The systems and the people, the analysts are now trying to figure out who is the person behind many accounts, and you have to do that by correlating a lot of psychological data. If it's the way that the attackers are talking and writing and in their forums and how they choose their usernames. And it's very important to understand that nowadays you need to look a lot more broader, especially when you have today the AI. So anyone can take something that he's writing to put it over there and change everything completely. So it won't identify him. So now the challenge is to understand and to get into those data and infrastructure of the attackers, which is a lot harder than it used to be because of all of the AI tools and
Yeah.
all of the capabilities that they have today.
It's so it's so, like I said earlier, kind of like eye-opening, but exciting, scary. It's just, yeah, it's been a fantastic conversation. So really, I kind of appreciate all of your time. I guess kind of final question that I have for Cyvore as I guess, a company, where do you think, I guess, see you guys going next? Kind of what does the next 6 to 12 months look like? What should we or the listeners be looking out for?
First of all, the problem is there, and it's going to be much bigger. Right now we are starting to implement our solution in a lot of companies in the financial market and the health market, because we created like three main interesting technologies out there. One of them is a OPR. It's like whatever can deceive a human eye cannot deceive this engine. The second one is what Iftach mentioned regarding the TIO, the ability to do everything automatically and to look from the attacker's eyes. And the last one, Dan, the data analyze and use the psychological engine. Actually, we're going to release very soon a very simple tool that you don't need even to install it. And when you will get into your phone, into your SMS or WhatsApp, something that look fishy to you, even personally, you can forward that immediately to Cyberbot, and it will give you in a minute a decision if this is fake or not, this
Wow.
is phishing or not. So imagine that in your workspace and you are right now at home and suddenly somebody sends you something and somebody that you know and you say, wait a minute, before I'm going to press this article or before I'm going to press this link, you just forward that, and Rosie, in one second, you will get a verdict if this is malicious or not.
Mhm.
And so I think in the coming months, we are going to see major attacks. And from the other side, we're going to see companies that starting to understand that this is the weak chain in their company, and hopefully you will use our solution. Our main focus is in the state right now, and sometimes it's take 1 year to do a relationship with a new customer. Even for us, it's a surprise. We're meeting with their CISO, and after one meeting, we're starting a POC with them or a trial to let them feel the system and to see, because you can protect your company with a lot of tools. A CISO purchasing something like 34 different cyber tool that he need to protect his company. But us, the people, we are the weakness chain. I know
Yeah.
exactly where you're going to leave your work, if you're going to bring your children to the kindergarten, whatever. When you're sad, when you're happy, they know everything. And at that spot, they will attack you.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm so excited to, I guess, see kind of what the next year looks like. And I'm sure it's going to change so rapidly. I guess kind of this time next year, it could be a completely kind of different conversation. Of course, we'll kind of put a load of links and everything into the comment section. If anyone did want to reach out, would it be to yourselves? Is there an email you'd recommend, or?
They can look for cyvore.com, syvore.com, and look on our website. Actually, we're going to launch our new website until at the end of this month. They can find us on LinkedIn, Ori Segal, Yoav Rotem, or Iftach Rotem. And Rosie, from now, whatever you think frightened because of a phishing attack, you have our connection. So you can send us and we will be happy to protect you, whatever is going to be out there.
I'm going to fill your inbox now with a load of messages. Is this
All right,
real, or?
let's do that. As much as data we can get, this is when we can help most of the people out there. So really feel free to send us whatever you want.
Fantastic. Well, I really appreciate all of your time today. I know you're going to be so slammed, but we'll definitely kind of reconnect in the, let's hope, next 6 months or so and see where you guys are.
Thank you so much for your time. We really, really appreciate that. And be careful out there.
Yeah, everyone. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.